What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And Bitcoin is starting to see a little bit of a pullback here. Now, this won't be super shocking to you if you watch my live stream on Friday. We were actually anticipating this drop based off of some very specific things that we saw on the chart. However, as we start the week off with about a 4% drop to the downside, as well as almost a 5% drop from the most recent high where we barely front ran that $100,000 level that everybody was waiting for, I want to break down the key levels we have down below us, why we were looking for this drop down, why we saw it happen so aggressively. I also want to take a look at the levels down below that I'm going to be looking at for bounces and potential new long positions. So if we do continue down, the Mafia is ready and has those key levels, so you guys can hopefully see those levels incoming and then take some trades and make some money off of Bitcoin's next move if you're not already short from the top with me in the premium Discord. So we'll go ahead and check out that trade as well. And with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. I'm going to break this all down for you so you're prepared for Bitcoin's next move. Let's get into it. So guys, here we are on the Bitcoin chart, and as you can see, we have seen this pretty aggressive 4.5% move to the downside here, rejecting that value area high that we were looking at on Friday night's live stream. And then you can see if I pull this all the way from the all-time high all the way down, it's about a 5% drop here from that front run of $100,000, guys. Now, I know everybody and their grandma was waiting for that $100,000 level to come in, and we just barely front ran it at about $99,776. And this was a scenario that we were looking at as a potential possibility on my live stream on Friday, saying, how crazy would it be if they just cause all this pain and front run $100,000 by a few bucks and then have everybody waiting for it to get hit and then just absolutely start dropping this thing back to the downside, specifically to clear out some of the liquidity that we have laying below. Now, again, if you guys were in my live stream on Friday, you will know we were looking at this Fibonacci retracement as a very key level, because not only do we have this golden pocket sitting at about 95.6, but we knew if we started to break below this level, we actually did have a lot of liquidation sitting here between about 95,654 and 94,599 or 94,600. And we knew that if we were going to come in here and crack into this level, we may be able to see a pretty quick drop into this 786 Fibonacci retracement level. And you guys can see how well that wound up playing out. We broke into this zone and absolutely started seeing those long positions start to stop out, giving us that quick drop to the downside. And where did we get the little bounce from? We got it right from that 786, which we knew was going to be the key level. And this was essentially just the zone we were looking to come down to if we started breaking this low here at about $95,654. And you can imagine all the people that were looking at this as a potential head and shoulders. Oh my God, this is where Bitcoin's going to get its next move up to 100K. And absolutely not. The market maker said, nope, bring it back up to the high of the range and then dump it on them, unfortunately. But again, guys, as you know from Friday's live stream, I am short from the tippy top here with the premium Discord in anticipation of that potential front run of $100,000, saying, hey, worst case scenario, we could come back down to the range low for a potential scalp. And if it does wind up playing out a little bit more, we can hold some of that position in case they do want to front run $100,000. And they say you can't short in a bear market, guys. I'm telling you right now, if you know how to read the charts like we do, there is plenty of money to be made, whether it's on a dump or a pump here. But up about $1,800 or 131%. Actually didn't load up too much on this position. It is a $40,000 position, so it's not really super big for me, but it is nice to get that little drop to the downside. I am still being conservative with the shorts, guys. I don't want this to be like, oh my God, we're bearish now, we're going to zero. I am still bullish, obviously, in the medium term and long term, but sometimes Bitcoin can see significant pullbacks in a bull market. So there we go, up 1,800 for that short, not too shabby. And if we do continue down here, guys, we may be able to hold this short from the top. And I'm going to talk about those key levels of support to the downside in just a second. Also, where I'm going to be looking for new long positions. So hopefully we can catch that short down and then catch along to make some money on that next big move to the upside. But if you guys want to sign up for Blowfin, guys, we have a deal going on with them right now. The link is in the description down below, but they are going to be doing a 15% cashback bonus only for the CandleMafia, guys. Tony fights tooth and nail to get these as high as he possibly can. This will be up to $1,500 in the form of a futures bonus, which is basically just free money for you to trade with. If you make profit on top of that money, you can keep the actual profit. You can look at it as a discount on your losses or just a free trade that you could take for whatever 15% of your first deposit is. And this does end on the 29th, guys, so we are running out of time. We only have a few more days left, and there's only 50 spots. So if you want a chance to get that cashback bonus, check that link in the description down below. But coming back to the charts here, guys, what happens if we do get this drop to the downside? What if we lose this 786? How low can we potentially go? And I want to talk about this because there are some key levels underneath us that I will be paying attention to. Let me go ahead and pull them up here. Now, there is a few of them here, guys, because as we grind to the upside, it is kind of hard to find these key levels. If you look here, we do have this naked volume profile, which starts off with the value area high at about $92,074. It's going to be a very, very big level to watch, in my opinion, because if we do wind up losing this level, this 786 here, and we get the bigger drop down, this is going to be a big level we want to bounce off of, right? Because if we get stuck in here and we don't get a reaction off this POC golden pocket down here, this could be the doorway to some lower prices, potentially targeting the 786 value area low back down at $88,000. Now, I'm not necessarily calling for this to instantly happen, but these are just going to be the key levels that we have down below. Now, if we pull some other more local golden pockets here from this swing low all the way to the high here, guys, we do have some confluence here on this anchored VWAP / golden pocket retracement, right? And then you can also see that the 786 of this fib pull actually does come right in here in our next zone, which is the POC and more of a macro golden pocket confluence. So this box right here is going to be kind of the first next level that I'm looking at, which hopefully we don't have to break, because if we do lose this and come down lower, hopefully we could bounce off of this, even if we get a wick down to that value area high. But I will be looking for this as an area to look for longs and to see a potential bounce come in. Now, whether that is to bounce up and potentially put in a lower high and continue the trend lower, that is going to be something we'll have to figure out as price action develops. If we get up there, I'll reassess the situation, see if a lower high is likely, and then we'll look to get that bigger move to the downside. However, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, but right now the key level is sitting here at almost 93K down to about 92.5. That's that kind of first zone. And then your value area high sitting at about $92,052. And then underneath that, we have this larger zone between about 91.3 and 90,205. And then once we start losing that, I think we're probably going to be more likely to drop into the 80s. Now, a lot of people ask me, Frankie, would you be worried if that happened? In my case, guys, not at all, right? Like, if we get a drop down there, I'm not calling for a bear market. You have to remember that, 30% pullbacks in a bull market are very, very common. This would only be an 11% pullback. So just to kind of put that in perspective, now, I'm not saying that we have to come down here, but just so you guys know, if we do get down there, an 11% pullback in a bull market is completely normal. Nothing to panic about. Now, it doesn't mean it can't turn into something to panic about, but an 11% dump in a bull market is absolutely nothing to panic about. Put your minds at ease, right? If you see those pullbacks, I'm looking at these as potential opportunities to get into more altcoins or, pick up maybe some more Bitcoin on spot or what have you. Mostly just looking for long positions. So those are going to be the key levels that I'm looking at down below. But hopefully we don't have to visit them and we can just continue to hold support and continue to the upside. However, guys, there are some bearish things popping up here on market site for B that could be calling for more downside. Now, on top of the fact, guys, that we have front ran $100,000, it does seem very market maker to front run that big psychological level that all the retail was waiting for and then just cause a bunch of pain and really spook people out of the market. And as we've been looking at on the live stream, guys, you have to understand there is a lot of liquidity sitting down below here, guys. So, you have to understand a lot of people are FOMO longing into here. All their stop losses are going to go below. There's a lot of longs here that may be sitting ducks waiting to potentially get wrecked. Now, you might ask yourself, guys, how did we know that we were going to get this drop to the downside? Well, the answer is, guys, it was an if this, then that statement. We knew that if we cracked this wick at about $95,660, we were likely to get that big liquidation because we had this liquidation box on the live stream just saying, if we break in here, expect a quick wick down to that 786. And you can see all of those liquidations sitting right here like sitting ducks waiting to get absolutely wiped out. And the mafia sees that as dollar signs, and we take advantage of those liquidations potentially getting taken, right? And you can see these liquidations did start at about 95.6. Once we wind up tapping into there, all the longs get absolutely slapped down to our key level of support. Absolutely unbelievable to look at the market like this, guys, and see this stuff play out almost to the dollar. And just to mention, guys, we are hitting support here technically. This 786 retracement could be technically the low, so I am looking for longs down here with the premium Discord. We'll see what happens. Maybe we'll get the bounce right now. So now you guys have the key levels of support, not only locally, but also even a little bit lower if we continue down. But I do also want to talk about the possibility, guys, of potentially, even if we get a bounce here, I want to talk about the possibility of potentially putting in lower highs and continuing down into these lower levels of support that we just went over. Now, it's going to be an assess the situation as the information comes in type situation, but as you guys can see here, there are some potential bearish signs on market cipher B, right? We have that 2-hour money flow starting to cross down towards that zero line, looking to cross over into the red. That is not the best sign as far as just an instant explosion to the upside. We do have a 6-hour blood diamond printing. Now, this isn't quite confirmed just yet. It is also on your Heikinashi candles, but that 6-hour blood diamond could potentially bring us down just us a little bit more. But you guys can see it is possible to get these and also just kind of get a quick dip and continue to the upside, right? So, but oftentimes you do get a significant little drop off of these. So that is just something to point out as well. This, with the money flow coming out, could just be a little bit of a warning sign that we could come just a little bit lower. And again, not expecting zero, guys. So, you know, you don't want to get too emotional right now, especially this is not the time to get scared out of your bags. In my own personal opinion, I'm not panic selling or anything like that. But that beautiful front run of $100,000, guys, was pretty crazy. And I'm glad that we caught that short from the top. So we'll see what happens. If this thing dumps, we're short from the top. If not, we are going to be looking for those longs and potential bounces at those levels that I just went over with you guys. And to be quite honest with you, I am taking stabs at longs here because we are in a bull market. The trend is up, and the trend is your friend until the end. So I am still being conservative with the shorts and greedy with the longs. I want to be clear about that. And oftentimes in bull markets, guys, these money flow crossovers into the red, even on a 2-hour or a 4-hour time frame, can easily just get reversed back into the green. So you have to be aware of that if you're out there trading. You have to be careful with the shorts in a bull market. But just looking at this from a binary perspective, money flow is starting to come out on some of these medium hourly time frames. On top of that, we are now printing that 3-day red dot, which again, I'm not necessarily expecting it to bring us to zero. But if you come down here and look at the 2021 bull run here, guys, like if you do get these red dots on the higher time frames, you do sometimes get like little pullbacks, right? Like you can see this one, we got a 3-day red dot here. This wound up bringing us down about 17%, right? Everyone thinks the bull market's over, but it's just a little bit of a pullback before a continuation up. And this is the stance that I am taking right now. We are in a bull market. And until proven otherwise, if I see a 17% dump, I am not looking at that as a bear market, right? I'm looking at that as a small opportunity because you can see they come far and few between these little pullbacks that you get in a bull market. You have to look at these as opportunity. Make sure that you understand the environment that you're trading in. So again, does that mean that we could continue down a little bit more? Sure, it totally can. We're only down 5%. We could easily see that drop us down to some of those lower support levels that I talked about earlier in the video. But I just want to be clear, even if we continue down here, guys, like long term, it does still look pretty good. And then we have our 4-day red dot, 5-day also looking to print a red dot here soon as well. And then you have a little bit of a daily bearish divergence here, which obviously did wind up confirming. So that could easily give us a little bit of a pullback here, guys. But I just wanted to hop on here, give you those key levels of support, let you know not only where I'm looking for a bounce, but why we actually got that drop to the downside, right? Like why we saw that big wick down, and also why we might be able to see this continue even if we get a little bit of a retracement, a lower high, and a continuation down. I want you guys to be prepared, just like we had you prepared for that drop down through the liquidations. If we continue down, I don't want you to get scared. I want you to understand kind of the context of the market and where we could be looking at for those bounces. And with all that being said, guys, if you want to trade with us in the premium Discord, you can check the link in the description down below for not only the premium Discord, but also Blofin if you're looking for a place to trade. But let's see what happens here, guys. Don't be scared if we get that bigger pullback, but now you have the key levels on where I'm looking for those bounces. And if anything alarming really starts popping up on the chart, your boy Frankie Candles will be the first person to let you know. And with all that being said, that's all the time I got for today's video. I'll see you in the next one. Frankie Candles out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, we winning by a landslide.